Welcome in, everybody, to a special edition of the Bully the Board Meeting, College Football Edition. I got two words. Bowling season, ladies and gentlemen. We got lots of bowl games to cover. We're going to break down all of the big matchups for you guys. Stick around. It's going to be a good show.
Give a damn about a hater when I feel like it. Not today, not today, not today, not tomorrow. Get out my way, please. I'm trying to get paid. Not today, not today.
So going through the list of all the bowl games, at least just the ones that we're gonna talk about, because there's other ones that we're not going to go through just in this episode for you guys today. But I don't know if we can look this up or if anyone's kept track of this, but is it just me or is it every single year more and more bowl games come out?
Yeah,
they don't change the criteria for who qualifies for bowl games, do they? It's like 6 wins.
They do. It's 6 wins and do you have money because we will take you for a bowl game. That's quite literally it.
Yeah.
We're not going to talk about it, and I guess we should have done it just so we can talk shit. But all that drama for JMU to get a bowl, and they gave them a bowl. Like they're in a bowl game. It's ridiculous, but I hope they lose.
It is quite, yeah. That's a different story for another day. But yes, it's bowling season. The bowl games are upon us finally after a few weeks of downtime and a just absolute deluge of transfer portal news and whatnot. We're going to try to cover as much of it as possible. Go over all of the, not all, but again, a lot of the games where either one, our model has identified some value, and we're going to kind of do some handicapping with that because of all the transfer portal news.
Yeah.
And just break down any of the bowl games with a ranked team, with at least one ranked team. So lots to get to. We got a lot of games, boys. So let's just start here real quick with kind of a high level look at what the model is saying. Now, again, I guess I'll just preface it and let's give some context here, because the model is saying, yes, here's the value, like we do every single week, but our model certainly is not picking up on all of the crazy news that has gone on in the transfer portal, etc.
And it's exploded. I mean, the minute that last game happened, it was insane. I mean, I don't really keep that big of tabs on it, but like the unabated news feed, it does a really good job. The first like 6 pages are just transfers. That's, people leaving. So it's just so crazy. So yeah, I mean, that's what I think we're going to get into today is like, yeah, there is value assuming these teams, were playing the same players or similar players that they were before, but that is not a safe assumption.
Yeah. And one thing, and just maybe anecdotally or just kind of outside looking into this. So it feels like there is a rule, and with a few exceptions, in that the transfer portal is largely made up of guys moving programs who are trying to better their situation, better their playing time, improve their chances to get to the NFL, whatever. Yeah. And, I was uncovering and going through a bunch of these teams, looking up transfer portal news, and a lot of these guys, frankly, the vast majority of them were not the star players. They were not the guys who were, first string, starter, all year type of deal. Obviously the exceptions, the Dylan Gabriels, the Riley Leonards, the DJ Uyungales, those guys are the exception to the rule. So just kind of as an anecdotal note going into this thing, a lot of names in the portal, but I don't know how many of them are actually real key impact guys.
Kyle McCord going to Nebraska, I think, is a huge upgrade.
Huge. Yeah. And I think this is like the new era of college football, right? I mean, this is how Coach Prime got Colorado to relevance for the first month of the season when he did it, right? It's through this, and so to your point, these are guys who are backups in these programs who may be starters elsewhere. I mean, we hear that all the time, right? So it'll be really interesting to see how this distribution of talent plays out and what rise and fall of teams are going to see next year. And I, for one, am absolutely stoked about it. I mean, we'll talk about it in a second, but one of the bowl games we're going to talk about is Boston College. They have like 9 running backs in their roster and 6 of them transferred. So it's like,
right.
What is happening right now? So this is good.
All right, so let's get into it because we got about a little over 20 games to cover. So we'll get as in depth as we possibly can within reason here. So first game up is Oregon and Liberty. I know this is the Fiesta Bowl, baby. So shout out Liberty. I mean, ending the season ending the season undefeated. Like just
Why aren't they in the playoffs?
I
Where's
know
the
we
outrage?
talked about. I was hesitant to bring it up because we talked about it a couple times throughout the course of the season.
19-point dogs against a team that didn't even make the playoff. Yeah, I'm with you though. They are deserving, aren't they?
Yeah.
It could be. All right. So our number says, again, not considering any transfer portal news at face value, but our number says it's 16 here, or excuse me, our number says it's 19, and the opener was at 16. And just as of a few minutes ago of this recording, it's sitting at about 17 and a half now in market.
Yeah.
The big news with this one, correct me if I'm wrong, is that Bo Nix, he's likely to play. I don't think has he officially declared for the draft?
Yes, but he is going to play. Like it's confirmed.
He is going to play.
I don't know, but that what does that mean? But we're going to see him. I don't know if that means the whole game. I would imagine if you're going to do it, you might as well do it big. Yeah, that's probably the biggest thing in this game, and why this opened at 16, and why I think you're seeing at least some bump there in the number, because that's probably the biggest impact player. But there's a bunch of guys that are transferring, and this is the problem with some of these really highly talented rosters. So you have some transfer guys, to your point, Kevin, a little lower impact, but then you got all of the good guys that are declaring to the draft, and that's a huge impact. And the problem with that, I think, a little bit more than transfer is, will they play or won't they play? Because there's, for the most part, these bigger schools, these Power 5 schools, you go in the transfer portal, you're not playing. Like you're gone, you're out. But if you are going to go to the drafts, Bo Nix, good example, he wants to play, so he's going to play. But I don't know. So it's interesting that this number keeps getting bought up. Any initial thoughts? There's a number of wide receivers that are going to be potential opt-outs. Starting, we're talking 722 snaps, 474 snaps. One of their main running backs is going to be opted out. So the thing here, though, blue chip ratio is 60%. And this is going to be a lot of things. You're going to hear me. I'm going to be a broken record here. To me, this is the angle that I really want to hit home. Blue chip ratio means you got a lot of studs that were getting limited playing time. And this is their time to shine. This is their time where the fall off between, first and second may not be as crazy as you think.
Yeah, I mean, for me, this is pure speculation, right? But that's exactly what I'm hanging my hat on these kind of games. Like, yeah, Liberty had an amazing season, but the talent gap between Liberty and Oregon is wide as it is. The talent gap between their backups is even wider. And so this is one of the, I'd be more concerned about, to your point, Seth, about these talented, college rosters. I'd be more concerned about these folks, declaring for the draft and not want to play for their future, right? I mean, God forbid, someone gets hurt. And I don't call it a meaningless bowl game, but I mean, let's be real, right? It's kind of a meaningless bowl game for Oregon, and especially when you're considering, let's use Bo as an example, his NFL career, right? So, this is to me is I would definitely expect. I know nothing, right? I'm speculating here. I would expect, Oregon to get up early, Bo maybe play a quarter or a half, and then let their backups kind of finish this game off. But even then, this is just two different classes of football, and I feel somewhat confident in the Oregon, and I'm kind of watching the line, see how this thing moves.
Right.
Yeah. The one thing I want to say real quick, sorry, Kevin, is that the backup Ty Thompson for Oregon has transferred out. So that does change things a little bit. Because I don't think they can get any transfers in, right? So these aren't, that can't happen until I think the summer. But does Bo get more playing time because of that, or does he get less playing time because they really need to figure out what they have in the second half? And that's the dynamic here. But you're right that full game here, even though there may be an angle, maybe a little bit dicey, because Oregon has to do that. They have to think about the team, right? They can't be like, all right, Bo, you can just play this whole game. I mean, maybe that's potential, but you really want to know what you have, especially at quarterback.
Right. And the fact that the center has opted out could be a weird element to keep it on. How does that exchange work all game, and how much of a downgrade is that from the starter to the backup? So our number, because it's 19, even at 7.5 right now, there is expected value to an edge. Yeah, it's about
2.6%. Yeah.
Yep. Yep. So we're still sitting in the range we'd like to see given all that. So I haven't taken this one personally, and 17.5 is a lot. I mean, I agree with Steve. Oregon's backups are probably still better than a lot of Liberty starters. But
this is the thing. The transfer portal for Liberty is pretty dry. We're talking guys that have the highest guy out that transferred is a DN with 238 snaps. Like, I don't know how, or maybe they're going to do it after this game. These guys are not transferring out of Liberty. Even their starting quarterback, which I'm sure he could go get paid, as of now, has not hit the portal.
Right. Yeah. So, yeah.
So I'm saying, is that a case for Liberty? Oh, sorry. Go ahead, Kevin.
It's not a case for Liberty. It's a case for, I want to bet Oregon here. I want to back them. This is not aligning to me that it's a good bet. And I'm actually confused that the market is buying this, because you have all of this unknown with Oregon. Really, the only thing you kind of know is Bo Nix is going to start. Okay, that's huge. But then we don't know how much he's going to play, and that's maybe even bigger. And then it's still kind of a signal to me that Liberty players aren't transferring out. So we're probably going to get their starters like for the whole game.
You guys can see, to everyone watching this, you could probably feel a theme coming along for the rest of the show. It's like, what the fuck do we know? It's going to be very difficult, basically, to make sense of a lot of this news. So I'm kind of with Seth. Yeah, I want to back Oregon, but I'm just not there. So even though there's an edge, I'm personally probably going to lay off this one, but would not hate the man or the woman who decides to back Oregon here.
Are you betting it, Steve?
Yeah, so I say I want to ask you guys too. I have not touched any of our games that have been model picks yet. And what I want to talk to you guys about is this kind of interesting dynamic. We talk on a week to week basis. We know the cadence of when the market starts to shift, right? We bet them on Sunday. We know by Sunday night, Monday, these things are moving, and then by Wednesday, Thursday, it's gone, right? In terms of opening versus closing. But with these bowl games still being a ways away, are we still in the quote unquote opener market? Are we kind of like in a freeze because of all the unknowns? Because I haven't looked at all these games, but I really haven't seen a ton of movement in the games I have looked at. And I'm just curious what your guys' thoughts are.
My thought is that it's somewhere between it's not an opener, but it's we're far from close. I think there's really no incentive to bet too early, because a kid can hit the portal at any time. Right. And this is going to be the hardest part about these are for the most part non-conference matchups, especially these big schools going against smaller schools. Liberty, all these players may transfer. You don't have to declare for the transfer portal right now. It just opened. They could play this game and then declare. So like there's that aspect of things. They could decide, what, fuck this. Actually, I want to declare. I'm going to declare tomorrow. Like, so I think that's my opinion. It's somewhere in between. I think there's still definitely edges to be had.
Yeah. It's like it's somewhere between, a look ahead line and an opener, kind of, in my opinion, because a lot of these games are not going to happen until after. Sorry?
You think it's pre-open? If a look ahead.
Well, yeah. I mean, hear me out. So,
okay,
I mean,
okay.
My eyes and ears haven't been glued to all, how the odds have shifted for all these games, but you still have guys, we've talked about it, and we'll continue to talk about it, that from now until when kickoff starts, you either could have them decide to opt out, decide to transfer, decide to declare for the draft. Maybe guys are still getting evaluated with their potential agents or whatever, getting draft grades, etc. So between now and most of these kickoffs, you really only have more potential for things to become more uncertain. So how the market treats the bowl games and what that timeline looks like, to your point of question, Steve. Yeah, I don't know, but I mean, even now, maybe the dust has mostly settled. Maybe the big news has likely come and gone for these guys, and I just could be wrong, but it just, I mean, I don't know how you could certainly call it anywhere near a closer. That's for sure.
No, yeah, it's nowhere near that.
Yeah, and I guess that's my only point. For those who are watching right now, we're talking about all this uncertainty, and the question you're probably asking is, well, shit, guys, do I bet it or not? Right? What are you telling me? And I think the reality is we're kind of navigating this. But I think my point too is I'm really in no rush to bet this, but the caveat is you have to balance that out between, and now I missed a good line, right? Because at some point it's gonna come, and it's gonna come quickly.
Well, this is the one too, because you're getting a lot of that value bumping through 18, and right now being on the other side of it. The minute you get on the other side of 18, you're not going to have any value. So
yeah,
you're completely right. I don't disagree with you, Kevin. I will push back a little bit. I don't think it becomes less certain the closer we get. I think it becomes more certain because you potentially should have more information at that point. But you're right. A lot of stuff can happen in 1 week. So you bet today, you're taking a bit of a risk. But to Steve's point, that risk could pay off because you may not be able to actually. This is, I guess, to be honest, is more of an information market than in purely analytical market, right?
Yeah, for sure.
If you know somebody's going to hit the transfer portal before it's news, then that's
worth something.
Yeah,
for sure. So, whew. All right, damn, we're only one game in, and I'm exhausted. Let's pace ourselves, boys. Hell no, I don't give up. Put me in, coach.
This one is wild. This one's wild.
Yeah, next one up, Notre Dame and Oregon State. So this game, our number says it's 8. Opener was at 10. But this is a matchup where the transfer portal news is just off the charts. Like both teams have a lot that has happened for both of them. I mentioned at the start for DJ Uyunglele, he's going. It's totally escaping me where he's going. Where's he going?
I don't know where he's going. I don't remember.
Oh, he hasn't decided yet. Okay.
I don't know. I don't know where he's going. I haven't heard that he's going anywhere. I am not keeping a super big tab on that though. But the coach left. The coach left and took the Texas A&M job, I believe. That started a cascade. I think you shared us something the other day, Kevin. This is the team with the most transfers.
Yeah, I had a little. There was somebody shout out. This was
them
Twitter.
Or Duke. It was them or Duke.
Yeah, let me pull it up real quick just to.
And while you're looking that up, DJU was visiting FSU.
Yeah, so shout out to Brad Powers on Twitter or X. But yes, so Oregon State is tied with Texas A&M as of yesterday, so December 12th. Tied with A&M for the most kids in the transfer portal at 11.
Okay. Oh, all right.
Yeah. Okay. I see.
So this is okay. We're the second game. I'm actually kind of liking a bet here, and I'll tell you why.
Okay.
You're starting over at Oregon State. They were really good this year. I think they exceeded expectations. They did for me. DJU played. He exceeded expectations for me. I think he exceeded expectations for everybody. But this is basically a starting over, right? The coaching staff has left, and not all, but a lot of the starters have left. You have DJU transferring, backup quarterback transferring, tight ends transferring, their linebacker, their safety. These are all starters, by the way. This is a lot of guys transferring out of that team. Okay, but you go to Notre Dame. You know what is the biggest opt out for this game? Sam Hartman not starting, and then two of their tackles and one of their linebackers, which were all starters that are not going to play in this game. But I come back to blue chip ratio. Who is more in the position to have players at a high level that they're going to play in this game versus Oregon State, where the talent is going to be a big drop off? Yes, we're going to lose some efficiency here, but what I'm gonna lay this. I'm going to go ahead and take the 6.5. I like a 1 possession spread now, moving through that at 7. Give me Notre Dame here. Give me Notre Dame all day, and I'm really baking that bet off of the talent. And I think this is a good spot where you have the equal drop off on the other side, but you do not have the talent to replace it.
Yeah, and just to clarify the comment earlier, so it's 11 players, not just transfer portals, but 11 players that are either in the portal, opt-outs, or declared for the draft. So that combination. So Oregon State tied for the lead, if you will. Now,
Bet Rivers has a 6. I mean, I don't know why they do, but let's go. You're getting robbed right now, buddy.
Okay.
6.5 at all the market makers. You can see it there. I just ran those numbers, a couple minutes ago. I'm betting this. I think this is a really good spot. Really good spot.
And
Look at that blue chip ratio.
Yeah. So just to clarify, you're taking 6. You're taking Notre Dame -6.
Notre Dame
right?
-6.
So this is one where we are actively telling you, this is disregarding what the model prediction says on there in terms of the EV because of what we're discussing. You're right, Seth?
Yeah, 100%. Because now these you're not going to get anywhere near the your starting quarterbacks out for both of these teams. So how that offense runs. I mean, both the tackles are going to be out for Notre Dame. That's a little scary here, but the backup to that tackle at Notre Dame it's not probable, or it's highly probable as a 4- and 5-star recruit. It's better than it's a 78% chance that guy is a 4- or 5-star recruit. It's a 1 in 10 chance that same, replacement at Oregon State is a 4- and 5-star recruit. The drop off here is going to be, I think, drastic. And you're also talking about no continuity at coaching. What does that look like?
Yeah.
Who's coaching these kids? If these are all interim, coordinators, these guys have to find jobs. You're telling, I know if I have to worry about my job going, every day, not a lot of good work's getting done.
I don't know why, but I don't know if you guys watch South Park, but Seth, when you're like, who's coaching these kids? I just think about that Cartman episode. It's like, how do I reach these kids?
How do I reach Bill Belichick?
Oh man, shut up.
R.I.P. man. Sounds like that's coming to an end. Different show, but
all right. So we got to play. So we're taking a play. We got one.
I'm taking it.
Largely,
I'm betting it right now.
Notre Dame -6. Largely, we're trying to operate on a sort of an information arbitrage angle here, and trying to derive value. And if it kind of co-aligns with what we're outputting with the model, then hey, cherry on top, I suppose.
Yeah.
All right. How about? You gonna say something, Seth?
Yeah. I've been limited at Red Rivers. God damn it, dude.
Wait, I didn't realize you're getting actually down on Bet Rivers like that.
Bet Rivers is pretty soft.
They sleepy, dude. I mean, they have a 6 right now for no reason. It's not even inexpensive.
Yeah.
That's fair.
I don't know. I don't know how big of a book they are, but similar. Similar.
I don't know that I got limited. They're having me. I have to send it to approval, so I'm going to send it all for approval. It's awaiting approval.
All right. Well, you're probably taking the worst number that they've had up so far. So I'd be surprised if you don't get accepted.
It was approved. So maybe
so
there's risk management. Thank God. That's one of my better ones.
All right. Next one up. LSU and Wisconsin, baby. So
ReliaQuest Bowl.
The ReliaQuest. Don't even know what ReliaQuest is, but nonetheless. So big names, obviously, to watch in this one. My understanding is Jaden Daniels and their top receiver Neighbors are maybes. They're potential opt-outs, but not official yet. So if those two dominoes are to fall, then that's obviously a huge swing, probably in my opinion. So I don't know how much the market is potentially baking that in here already, but to my point earlier, if you're Jaden Daniels or Malik Neighbors, who I think is by many respects the number 1 or number 2 draft receiver prospect behind Harrison, I don't know what the incentive is for these guys to play.
It's like I'm just thinking of Too Fast Too Furious memes here. It's like it's family, it's just like you just get to strap up one last time in the LSU uniform. A lot of lineage there, but I agree. I mean, these guys would. I would really love to be able to talk to anybody that would judge somebody that. I mean, these are first round guys. We're talking $20 million decisions here, and that is life changing money. Pretty difficult for me to judge somebody that's going to prioritize that, in my opinion.
Yeah.
So no judgment here. I would actually find it hard to find it compelling to do it, but that's kind of their decision.
Yeah, I'm going to take the opposite angle. I do think Daniels plays, and here's why. I agree with everything you just said. I mean, that is life-changing money, and that's generational wealth. But you see that video that was circling around when Jaden transferred and the ASU receivers went in there. It's like, oh, he's trash anyway. Get him out of here. We don't like them. Name a better revenge than going out after winning the Heisman, leading your new team to a bowl game and just rubbing it in the face of those guys one last time. Now, is it a smart decision? No, absolutely not. Protect your body for sure. But man, pettiness is a bitch, and revenge is the dish best served cold. So I'm excited to see how that plays out.
I could get behind that if they were playing ASU, but like, when you're saying what's better,
sure.
like what's the best thing you can do? Win the Heisman. I mean, he already did the thing that's like unequivocally that guy is. He literally can say no. I think he became deaf the moment that happened. Like he can never speak again. Like, so I don't know. Yeah. But it's about
family though. It's about family. But I do think, and I agree. I'm here. I'm just speculating because, I don't have much on this game, but I to your point though, in all seriousness, I do think there is something, clearly it's a brotherhood, right? And I do think there's something saying, oh, well, no, this is my family now. Like, you guys hated me, you guys disrespected me. Like, let me show you how good of a teammate and how good of a family I really am with my new LSU brothers. But yeah, I'm with you, man. He should sit out this game.
Yeah. I'm going to keep my eye on this. I think the dominoes may fall. I think, again, no insider information here, but I might look to play Wisconsin here because the market really hasn't moved a ton. I think it's probably waiting for some more concrete news for some of those key guys. So I don't know if basically I'm hoping to get ahead of the news. I'm
going to push back here pretty strongly, Kevin. The LSU backup is real deal. He's gotten real snaps. He's had to come in. JT Daniels got hurt a number of times, Jaden Daniels got hurt a number of times. He's come in and stepped up, and I mean, he hasn't played like crazy minutes, but he's by all accounts like he's the guy. It's his team coming up, and I think that's my interpretation why this number is not moving, because I think the market's saying, okay, he may or may not play, or he may or not, he may opt out, but that drop off isn't actually going to be that crazy. That's my interpretation of this.
Damn, from a Heisman winner to the back. Okay, all right, maybe.
But this is college. I mean, just think about a couple of weeks ago when we were talking about key injuries in the right team, and I would say LSU ain't sitting there twiddling their thumbs thinking about, well, what are we gonna? Oh man, he's leaving. What are we gonna do? No, they've had that backup ready. Just like, I mean, Georgia is, they're fighting over the freshman 5-star recruit, for 2-3 years down the line. This is what's happening at the highest levels, especially in the SEC. That's my interpretation here of what's going on. I mean, he's a different athlete, obviously, but he has gotten minutes. And to me, this is what I think the market is kind of pricing in. They're giving you a little bit of drop off from offensive efficiency, but they're not, falling off a cliff here. Now you lose to your best wide receivers. I mean, that's got to be worth something.
Yeah.
Even if
I think
he plays.
Yeah, and I think for me the big issue here is to Steph's point, look what Alabama did in that run between Tua, Hurts, Mac Jones, right? I mean, look at Ohio State, that run back there with Stroud, Justin. I feel like some of these teams are just so stacked at quarterback. That's saying it doesn't matter, but it doesn't matter who the next man up is because they're all the man, right? But at the same time, I'm looking at this from a Wisconsin standpoint. We're talking about what's happening offensively on the drop off for LSU, right? But I think, my concern here is, well, what can Wisconsin do offensively to take advantage of that? We've talked about LSU's defense, being sort of its Achilles heel. And if you're not getting that big of a drop off offensively, is Wisconsin even in a position to take advantage of that, right? I mean, if LSU is, if Jaden leaves and that's worth 6 points, LSU's going to outscore them by 20. Is that really that big of a deal? And I don't know. So that's to me. And Wisconsin's been a below average offense all year. We all know that their defense has been what they hang their hat on. But I just don't know if there's enough here for me personally to kind of touch with that. But I do hear your point, Kevin.
This is an underperforming Wisconsin team.
That is true.
It's your money, man. But I find it real difficult to find a compelling reason to back them. I mean, this is an underperforming team. They got banged up in the season. I mean, obviously this extra time can help them get healthy. You got 2 wide receivers, but transferring, but I don't know how big of a deal that is, quite frankly, because again, this is an underperforming team. This is a team that was forecasted to win. Their over under wins was 9.5. I think they ended up winning 6 or 7 games.
Yeah.
I think, we're one season away from having Wisconsin be a better team, but we're just not there right now.
So for context, today is the day that it moved from 10.5 to 8.5. I don't know what happened today, but it got.
I was just going to say, did you guys watch Pardon My Take? Any Pardon My Take watching it? I didn't get to listen to it.
I did not today.
Jane Daniels was on Pardon My Take. So I wonder if he, hinted something there.
Fascinating. Okay. Yeah. I'm not pulling the trigger yet. I'm keeping my eye on it though. Cause I'm basically swinging in the dark, hoping to get ahead of some news with this one. It's really kind of
sure.
All right.
I don't know. You can't even call it an angle, but all right, moving on. Iowa and Tennessee, my friends. Our number says it's 8. Opener was at 8. So this one, we have to watch Iowa again, I guess, is really my takeaway. Like, God damn it.
Well, you don't have to watch it.
One more time. But I will. Come on. You will too.
I will, because this is the biggest, best experiment you could ever see. Like, what happens when a really, really potent offense goes against a really, really good defense, but a horrible offense. I don't know. This one's, I don't know. You guys talk me into
the transfer portal news. The transfer portal and/or the injuries for Iowa aren't really that significant, and like they got a receiver and a backup quarterback in the portal. But again, like nobody on the offensive side of the ball for them is, I'd say it, frankly, worth a damn at this point. And then with Tennessee on the flip side, it's pretty much nothing but defensive guys that are transferring.
But their defense was not good. I mean, this is an SEC school, so okay, I'll give you that. Right. But like, that's interesting to me that none of their offense is transferring, which is how they're going to win this game. Like,
100%.
I mean, I'm trying to remember the kind of archetype game that we would be thinking about, because didn't Iowa score like 21 in
a game this season?
No, they did early in the season. They scored because
it was like Maryland.
It was like one of the first games of the season. Like, oh man, is Iowa going to be an offensive team? Because they screwed the
you had them. They scored like 45 points. It was like, because it was at the wedding. I remember.
It was Maryland, 51-14.
Yeah, they scored for no reason.
Wow. Yep.
So it's like, do we think that Tennessee can like outscore Iowa here? Like, what?
Well,
I don't know. That's
you don't think that?
No, I'm saying, how do you not think that?
Okay.
That's basically what the bet is, right?
Right.
Yeah. No, I'm sorry. And just real quick, sorry, I was scored way too up. It was 41-10 Iowa over Western Michigan. That's what it was.
Western Michigan.
41-10 Western Michigan.
But I think they put 20. Yeah. Okay. Here it is. It was 22-0 against Rutgers. So, and Rutgers is not a bad team, but like this team, like you put them against a horrible offense. A horrible defense. Like, I don't think they know how to score 28 points.
Right.
Because scoring 41 on Western Michigan is they're going down in talent. You're not going to go down in talent here.
Right.
I want to lay the 8 here. Tell me I'm crazy. I mean, tell me how. Really 6.5 is like you slam dunk, reverse slam dunk this, but like
No,
I don't know how
I'm trying to fish for something, do some mental model stuff, but I can't. So I am with you. I kind of want to lay the 8 as well. What has the movement been on this one?
Yeah. Here I actually have it pulled up right here. Iowa. And not a lot, because we had it at 8 and it's at 8. It's just only moved at Chris there. So. Technically, actually, this open. It looks like it opened at 7.5, and then to the 8, then 8, 7, back to 7.5, and then 8, and then on the 5th it moved to 8.5. And then this got as high as 9 at Pinnacle, and moved back to 8 on the 11th, so a couple days ago.
Okay, yeah, ugh. It's ugly. I mean, it feels ugly, but yeah, I think I'm aligned with you on this one.
And then at Circa, it's just been 8.
Vols.
Just opened at 8, and it never moved off 8.
Vols.
Yeah, I mean, I'm just looking at the matchup map here. You know, I can't find minus Michigan. I really can't find one opponent in their last, call it back half of the games that's anywhere near an average offense, right? Meaning that Tennessee, it's going to be now. On the flip side, we know Iowa's defense is absolutely trash. Or excuse me, Iowa's defense is really good. Their offense is absolutely trash, right? But when you look at that, they are playing against, above average defenses for the most part in the Big Ten. But still, I don't know if that actually matters. I think Iowa is just so traditionally horrible on the offensive end. If Tennessee can score 2 touchdowns in the entire game, hell, they can score a touchdown and a field goal. I'm not sure if Iowa can really keep up. So yeah, I'm with you, Seth. I'm not saying a blowout, but 8 points.
Cornerback is out with an injury, and their starting right tackle is out. So I mean, Iowa's not even full health here. So even just if this becomes a shootout, Iowa's not the team that is positioned to
do it
to survive.
Not gonna do anything about it. Agreed.
I mean, have they been in a shootout once? They're used to a defensive shootout. I guess Purdue, Iowa, 14-20. That's their version of a shootout.
Yeah, that's a very generous version of a shootout.
I'm just trying to the problem is these are teams that, man, FanDuel, shout out to FanDuel. They're laying a 7.5 right now. Now that doesn't really mean anything, quite frankly. Right?
At 110?
No, at 114. See, so people talk to us. What trap lines are real? This is the closest a trap line comes. They're giving you a seemingly better number, a little bit more expensive. It means literally nothing from an expected value standpoint. From a probabilistic standpoint, you're going to cover a 7.5. You have to win by 8. That's not a very common outcome. You're probably going to see this win by 10, 14, right? So you get maybe a little blip in expected value, but not for the price you're laying, right? That's as close as a trap that they're setting, right? Yeah. 8s, you can get 8s just anywhere and everywhere. I think I have to bet this.
All right. I'm with you. I'll ride or die with you on that one.
Okay. Steve's quiet.
All right.
I'm surprised.
He's deadly assassin. He's fucking scheming.
No. I'm just biding my time, Then
All right. Next up, we got Miami and Rutgers, baby.
Man.
Yeah, this one is. I know nothing, frankly, about either of these teams in terms of their activity in the transfer portal, opt-outs, things like that. It looks like Van Dyke is in the transfer portal.
Portal, yeah. Which is not surprising because he got benched and then I think he got brought back.
Right.
So that's huge. Yeah. I don't know who started in that game when he got benched, but obviously,
I haven't caught much. Didn't catch much Rutgers football this year. And I mean, you can just kind of see how they were measured to be. Yeah. You can just kind of see how they were measured over the course of the season. But, is this another one where we kind of look back to and say two things? Number one, the talent disparity between these two, how will that come into play? And number two, what is the reason for this pretty significant line movement? If this is already at 1.5,
Van Dyke. Van Dyke not starting, and then you're basically playing the third string. It looks like in Miami.
Third string
Henry Williams was injured. Yeah, so you're playing Jakari Brown. So you're getting a huge drop off there.
I wonder when that news happened then.
I mean, I'm sure it's correlated to the line movement.
I would agree. Yeah, you're probably right. So 2.5. So this is fascinating.
It may have actually been just me slow to put things in because actually,
there wasn't a huge jump though, because on the 4th, when most markets opened, it was 6 at Circa,
6.
and then just slowly but surely through the 5th, through the next day, it got bought down to 2.5, and then not until the 11th, 2 days ago, did it get moved to the 1.5. So,
I think this is mostly Van Dyke news here.
You're probably right. Yeah, you're probably
like,
right.
And then you're at your third string with not a lot of information there. I don't know this. I think I would normally want to back Miami here, but like I got to watch a fair amount of Rutgers games. Rutgers played really well this season, definitely above expectation to what their roster was. Looks like both their backups are going to go to the portal. So, I mean, obviously that's not that important for this game because it looks like they're going to have their starter. They will lose their offensive tackle, but he was not a starter. So really no starters. I have to kind of agree with the market here. Like for a little bit of a scrappy Rutgers team that overperformed, is this kind of your time to take down a big name, even when they're kind of down and out? You got 3, you're playing your third string quarterback, but I think 1 is just not enough for me to back you here. But I would lean Rutgers.
I'm this is probably stay away from me given all that news. I mean, too bad we didn't do this. I don't say a week ago, but too bad we couldn't see the future, boys. Okay, you'd be rich. All good.
Any thoughts from you, Steve?
Oh, sorry.
No, I'm not touching that. I'm not touching that game.
All right.
No.
All right. I'm a New Jersey guy now. Like I live it. Like there's a Rutgers campus, like 5 minutes from my house. So I might have to just represent.
Shut up. Why not? All right, next one up, we got Bowling Green and Minnesota, baby. So another team, at least from my perspective, somebody's gonna have to educate me on Bowling Green football here with what's occurred with them. But our number, we said this is -3 in favor of Minnesota. The opener was at 6, so market is now about 3.5 or 4 at market makers. So, I don't know. I don't know what the hell's been going on with this one. I don't know. I mean, I don't know. Bowling Green's transfer portal news is pretty thin. Not a lot of guys. I mean, it kind of makes sense. Like no one for the draft, no one opting out. They don't have a high blue chip ratio, so they don't have a lot of namesake, right? And the Minnesota news is actually pretty low, relatively speaking, as well. They're starting QB though, a big one, obviously,
and their backup.
Oh, and the backup too?
Yeah.
Ooh, shout out. So,
I mean, this one for me is just one of the ones I actually feel pretty comfortable about.
Yeah, I was just going to say.
Close to, like, okay, this is as close to an analytical pick as we've been in the last few slides. So I'm really trusting the model on this one, and I actually like Bowling Green at where we're at right now.
Yeah, you can get a 4.5, expensive 4.5. Any value here with no quarterback information, no real, a 4% edge is really not that crazy when talking blue chip ratio, especially down to the third string. Any value on money line here?
Ooh, little dog in the week action.
Let me see Bowling Green, what the raw number is here. So the raw number is Bowling Green winning by 5.
Oh, let's go.
Yeah. Should we do it?
Yeah.
Let's see.
Yo, I'm doing it.
Okay.
I can get behind.
You can get plus 160.
Well, you can. I can't. It's because that DraftKings. 160 is the best number. PointsBet has it. I'll go take their money. I think I'm gonna split it. I'm gonna split the unit in half and do half money line, half. When is this game?
Smart.
The 26th. Perfect. I'll be in Tucson.
Oh, let's go.
Yeah, I like this. Kevin, we can convince you or no?
Well, caveat this in that I don't need a ton of convincing with this one because my understanding or my knowledge of what's been going on with Bowling Green specifically has been virtually nil up to this point, and everything. I mean, the points we just discussed. Who am I to poo-poo on this party? Let's fucking go, Bowling Green, baby.
Oh, okay. We got a consensus here. It sounds like. Are these just three dudes just driving themselves to their funeral?
Yeah, could be.
All right.
Bowling
Yeah.
Green's Bowling Green
plus
Falcons. All right.
160 and a 4. All right. I'm taking
Let's
it.
roll. All right. Chugging on. Next bowl game up, we have Penn State and Ole Miss. So our number says -7 in favor of Penn State. Opener was at -3. Market's sitting around 3.5 now at this point. So the Penn State, the Penn State stuff, the looking ahead to next year, because I know they got a new offensive coordinator coming in. They got the Kansas guy coming in. I don't know. He's not going to do shit for this game.
No.
I
don't think so.
I would highly doubt it. But so bullish on the future of Penn State, at least in the short term here. But otherwise, from just the transfer portal opt out news and all that. Pardon me if I'm wrong, but like not a lot to really point to say why not back Penn State here. And
well, one thing that Manny Diaz is gone. Their defensive coordinator is gone. So I mean, again, I'm not saying that's enough to not back Penn State, but you talk about how Penn State's been so dominant on defense.
Yeah.
Having those games, especially against what was the first one against. Was it Michigan or Ohio State that they held pretty close for the first half? I mean, they had a decent game in both, but that defense is, that'll be one thing I'd be curious to see. Now, that being said, though, I mean, we talk about this all season long. This is an Ole Miss team that I really don't believe in. I had my hopes high when they were playing Bama, and I thought, oh, this is the year. Bama's struggling, kick them while they're down. Ole Miss and that Lane Kiffin offense, like they're gonna go nuts. Like this, they're meant for this. And then they've just steadily disappointed. And quite frankly, I don't know why they're ranked so high, other than, Seth's theory is that they're an SEC team and the committee has to make the SEC look good so they can inflate those other teams, the Bamas, the Georgias, etc. So even with DS being gone, I'm kind of all over Penn State here.
I can't agree more with you here. And I'm trying to find the guy's name. I think it's Dart, QB backup at Penn State. He is a really great talent, and he actually he covered a couple of games for us when the number one guy went down. So I'm actually hoping we get to see a second half for that guy, and because I think that's going to be really what's this guy's name? I don't know. It's not coming up, but
which guy?
The Penn State backup quarterback backup, but I'm gonna be a backer here in Penn State. I think I mean, I'm not a believer here. I will say though that the D coordinator not having that, but the reality is you've played a whole season now. I mean, it's not like you're gonna I mean, obviously the game plan and how you approach that, and I guess what you practice. Now where did is he the guy that took the Duke job?
Yeah. Yep.
Gotcha. So he's already left. I was going to say, do we actually know he's left? But yeah, he's left. That is an angle here, but how much of the defense is him like being like, all right, you need to be in this exact spot? I mean, or how much is it, yes, good coaching, but these are good athletes that are good on defense. And
I don't know if
there's a whole season. This isn't game one.
I don't know if there's data out there to say like he's taken a bunch of other defensive staff with him to Duke or what that looks like. But to Steve's point, to this point at large, like just because the DC is going, you still in theory have a lot of the staff there who know the system, are going to coach it and teach it effectively the same way, and who could get the same message across. And the players are still there on the defensive side for Penn. The only key guy who might be out is their cornerback, who might be declared for the draft, but he's still a potential at this point. So they still got the guys. So to
that point, I don't think we've seen any news of the other coaches besides Diaz is the coordinator gone. But to Sel's point, I think the big thing here is you're not losing the pregame planning. You're not losing the game plan there. That's already been done, right? I mean, you've known this is coming. You've got a season's worth of data on Ole Miss. What you lose is the in-game adjustments, and that's kind of my thing. It's like I don't know if there's going to need to be any, because we really haven't seen much from Ole Miss to make me think at least that they're this really dangerous team. More so that's it's going to overpower a Penn State team. So I'm with you, Seth. I'm with you, Kev. I don't see much of a challenge here. I love the Penn State bet.
Let's go Nittany Lions, boys.
Yeah, I'm locking that in.
All right,
that's an official bet for me.
Let's do it. Moving on. Next one up, we have Ohio State and the darlings of this season, Missouri. And I say that facetiously because we had so many people in our mentions all year about Missouri and how their shit didn't stink, basically. So fascinated with this one. Obviously, the big news for the Ohio State side of things. Kyle McCord in the transfer portal. Obviously, some other big key names. One of the running backs has opted for the draft already. Marvin Harrison, potential opt-out going to the draft, and several other key starters who might opt out for draft purposes as well. So a lot of talent going to be lost on this Ohio State side.
Yeah.
What do you guys think?
Highest blue chip ratio in the country. Just keep that in the back of your mind. No matter what decisions you start to make, when we're talking about the next man up being an elite athlete, it's not more true than any other team than Ohio State.
Yeah. So I mean, we just talked about this, right? The CJ, the Fields to the Strouds, the Tuas or the Hurts to the Tuas. Like we've been through this. I think that's a prime example where I would not be surprised to see not a big drop off here. And quite frankly, for two reasons, I want to take Ohio State money line here. One, for what we just said, and two, God forbid Mizzou wins this game and those damn TikTokers. So give me the Buckeyes.
The only thing here I got to say from a standpoint, I want to be with you here, Steve. Is you just have no movement from Mizzou, and that's got to be worth a lot, or at least a little bit of a signal here that these guys are hungry. They're buying in just as much as the TikTokers, and they're not transferring out here. And I'm sure a fair amount of those kids have an opportunity to go somewhere, maybe, a bigger team in the SEC. So that's got to be worth something here. But
I think it's worth about 6 points at this point. That's how much the market has moved. So I would kind of, I guess, push back a little bit. Like, yeah, the talent is huge in there with Ohio State, but
I mean,
how much is too much? How much is too much?
You're losing a lot of potential. I mean,
and to the point discussed earlier, it's only going to get worse, potentially, at least.
Yeah, but who are we losing on the defensive side of the ball, though, for Ohio State?
Safety, cornerback. These guys didn't get much playing time. A defensive tackle, a defensive end, and a linebacker. And a safety.
I mean, but you said they're not all starters, though, right? Those are guys who
sorry, of starters that have like 500 plus snaps. A safety, a D end, a DT, a defensive tackle, and a linebacker. But these guys are all potential. So you can be betting on do they play?
Yeah. But again, I guess my point being there, especially on the defensive end, it's harder, right? When you're talking about defensive schemes, you have a rotation of cornerback, safeties. Now, granted, you have studs and starters, right? You can have impact players there. But Ohio State was fourth best EPA per play defense in the league. I mean, look at their so very good, right? Look at 0.02. So I guess my point being is this an overcorrection focusing on the offensive side of the ball? And I've kind of talked myself into believing there may or may not be that big of a drop off. But have we just forgotten about this defense is still a pretty damn good defense, and they can keep in this game? And have we swung too far in the other direction here for a Mizzou team that I think, quite frankly, we've all kind of believed they've punched up this year? Now, give credit where credit's due. They have won games when we didn't think they would win. They've also lost games to good teams. So I don't really know. I'm convinced here. I get why the market's moving. I'm not trying to discredit that. Market is smarter than I am. But I think this might be one of the spots where I might come out looking a little bit smarter than I might be.
No, I mean, I think you're at the point of the market where, there's just enough of overcorrection that you're buying it the other way. The only question, I can't be convinced to be a backer here. I think it's just too much uncertainty for me. One question I would have for you, though, is can you wait and get this at 3? And the answer very well could be no. And it very well might be no, but I just want to ask that question. Does
Yeah,
this
no,
get
that's a
+3?
phenomenal. Yeah, that is a phenomenal point because as we know, the value there skyrockets. If you think it's good at 2.5, boy, if you get a +3, that now you're really in business. I'm surprised, and I guess I'm impressed, Seth. I want to say here on the show, I've known you for a long time, and this is maturity. You have a chance to let pettiness and hatred, really bring you to the
Blossom.
top, but you're taking the high route. I respect that.
Yeah, I have to say, I don't know how many points it's worth. I have to say it's a signal to me that there's no transfers out of Mizzou here. I think that says a little bit about continuity. It says that maybe those TikTokers are just as, the players are just as bought in as those TikTokers. And I do think though, I don't disagree with you though. Like, this number could very well be too inflated, and that blue chip ratio, I come back to it. This is the most talented team in the nation as far as 4 and 5-star recruits. So yeah, you're right. You lose these guys. The next man up here is a 4 and 5-star recruit. This is a guy that is, elite at his position, and that's got to be worth something as well. So I think it's just too much uncertainty. Yeah, just too much uncertainty for me.
Okay.
But actually, you make a good point. Like, yeah, actually the 3 really won't change things. You would need to get a 3.5 here, plus 3.5 if you're going to take the dog. So maybe it's probably not worth waiting to get it's not really waiting for that move. I'm trying to see if you can get any cheap 2.5. Yeah, you can actually. So I would actually recommend, Steve, if you're going to do this, like BetMGM has a plus 2.5 minus 105. I think that's a pretty damn good bet. And, if it's a good priced bet, like you don't have to be right very often on betting on the most talented team in the country.
Yeah. No, I like that. I'm locked out of my BetMGM account. There's some weird. Kevin, I don't know if this is a thing with you. I don't know if you use BetMGM, but I got an email. This is like a month or so ago. Like, oh, we we don't have phone service for Arizona, and I need my password reset, but they only can reset it by texting you a link, but they don't have phone service for Arizona, so I can't get a new. It's this weird little loop I'm stuck in where I can't get.
Sounds like you're getting
my account
fished, bro.
Yeah, you're getting scammed.
Yeah, man. So I don't know.
Hope you didn't have any cash in that account. It might be gone.
Oh no, I haven't used BetMGM in a while, and I've been locked out for like 6 months, or no, 3 months.
I think you have the Bet MGM, like the Chinese version of that.
The Bet MGM, yeah.
Like, yeah, we can't text you, but just deposit and we'll figure it out.
All right,
no bet for me. No bet for me here.
For at the moment, I agree. I'm on the same page.
Can't do it.
All right, next one up, we have Kansas State and why don't even know what logo that is. What logo?
Oh, North Carolina State, the Pop-Tart Bowl, bro. How do you not know this?
Sorry, yeah,
it's the marquee bowl of the year.
Hey, Pop-Tarts are legit though. You don't you don't really eat as many Pop-Tarts as you think you would when you're an adult as you probably could.
Yeah, you know how I know life isn't fair? We have a Pop-Tart bowl, but not a toasted strudel bowl. That's how I know this country's doing.
Yeah.
Probably made by the same company. Isn't it like a Kellogg? Isn't that Kellogg's?
Probably. Blame big corporation. Okay, NC State.
All right.
Riddled with transfers here. Quarterback that played up until week 10 is transferring. Some guys that didn't get a lot of snaps, to your point, your point earlier, Kevin, but their nose tackle is their starting nose tackle. He looks to be transferring. So actually these are kind of a lot of guys, but not really a lot of importance.
Yeah, and I want to take a moment of that too, because NC State, so MJ Morris is in the transfer portal, but Brennan Armstrong, they kind of had this quarterback carousel thing going on where Brennan Armstrong started the season, then he got benched and he got hurt, then MJ Morris came in, started for like 3 or 4 games, and then Brennan Armstrong came back, and he's been the quarterback playing the last few games. He's the one that beat UNC. Okay. So, Armstrong, Armstrong is the starter. So truly is their backup is going. And so from a continuity standpoint, I don't think you get anything lost there for sure. I think the big issue is K-State. K-State is a team that has a lot of unknowns. So Will Howard, K-State starting quarterback, he's in the transfer portal, all-time passing touchdown leader. Then you have their OC, Colin Klein. He's going to Texas A&M. Then you have their backup running back going to the portal. And you may have Phillip Brooks, K-State's number 1 receiver, declaring for or going to the transfer portal as well. And so Yeah, so to me, like K-State is the one where they've been a great team, most of this year, but they're getting ready to get rocked in terms of who's playing there. And we look at that blue chip ratio, less than 4%, right? So I'm not sure this is a team that's ready to reload and get ready for all this sort of newfound inconsistency that's going to come to play here with both the quarterback and the OC being lost here. So I for an NC State team that has been on the upswing, I think they won the last 6 games. They beat UNC for on the rivalry game there. There's just too much for K-State for me to not take the Wolfpack here, even though I know it's not a model play. There's not a lot of value there from the analytical standpoint, given all the stuff. And I'm backing the Wolfpack here.
Yeah, but from an analytical standpoint, they're the one thing you can buy, not only the blue chip ratio here, but this expected fall off on offensive efficiency. I mean, you have this synergistic effect of it, in my mind, going on. You have you're telling me the most efficient quarterback they've ever had, and then you combine that with their offensive coordinator leaving. That's a lot of efficiency drop off. We can see through the blue chip ratio, there is very little chance they're going to be able to just have that guy waiting. And to your point, I like the play here at continuity at quarterback. This guy's had some big wins that you've called in the last couple of weeks. Sign me up. I'm taking NC State +3. I'm not going to go money line here.
Sure.
I want to be disciplined, but yeah, I think this 3 is a good number. 110 all day. Give it to me. I'm on it. I'm on this one.
Yeah, no, and I was looking at this game beforehand, and I did sprinkle on the NC State because I saw that, and I talked myself into it. Now, again, you watch us, we talk about, betting smart. We're all about education, and, we joke around and whatnot, but we really try to do effective bankroll management and being smart with our money. With that being said, Seth, I'm not trying to convince you to do the money line, but I want to give you a little piece of information, and you do with that as you will with your betting strategy here.
Okay.
So K-State, like I mentioned, Will Howard's gone, right? The backup quarterback, Avery Johnson. After the news broke of Will Howard leaving and their OC leaving, Avery Johnson released a hype video saying that he's recommitting to K-State and he'll be the one who starts in this game. And the music to this hype video was 2 words. The song 2 words by one of Kanye West. Now, given the fall off of Kanye, does this make you want to take the money line for NC State even more?
Man, but I can't hate because like I can empathize with the Kanye hype. Like Kanye said it himself. You're a fan of Kanye West, you're a fan of yourself. So I can't hate on him because he's just hyping himself up here.
Okay. All right. No,
I like it, but I can't hate on the kid. Avery Johnson, good for him. So what do we know about this kid? How many did he play at all?
I think he's had a couple of snaps here and there throughout the season. He's never had significant time, from what I can tell.
Are we losing any of wide receivers or anything? Not really from Kansas State. That's the only thing.
No, Phillip Brooks, their number 1 receiver. He's first in receptions. He's in the transfer portal.
And he's an opt. He's an opt out. Gotcha. I see here.
Yeah.
So that's a huge deal. So I appreciate the angle. I can't. It's a little too. A little too nostalgic. No. It's so nostalgic. I've been that kid, man. I've been that kid listening to 2 words, needing to hype myself up. So I can't hate on him. I can't hate on him. Give me NC State +3.
All right, Wolfpack it is. Let us go, boys. Let us go. All right. Next one up here, Syracuse and South Florida. So our number says -4 in favor of Syracuse. Opener was at 1. It's been bought up to about 3s now at the market makers. So
I have to say I haven't watched 1 snap. I guess I watched South Florida when they were playing Alabama and they were potentially going to win the game.
I was going to say that's the only football I've caught of South Florida this year. So the little I caught was, I guess, impressive. But beyond that, sheesh, couldn't tell you. So with Syracuse on the flip side, I mean, they have a coaching change. Their head coach got fired.
Yeah.
So I don't know does anyone know what their record finished off at top of the heads, or if they have it handy? I wonder why they even fired him. I guess is my what I'm trying to get at.
Syracuse.
Yeah.
He's not he's been there a couple of years. He just I think underperformed.
Okay. So head coach is gone, and I mean, the market hasn't really done
6-6.
Market really
They barely made a bowl
6-6. All right, market hasn't really done a much with this. Got bought up a couple points, but can you get an? I mean, is it at threes or is there any threes? No.
Yeah. Yeah, it's all at 3.
Oh, sorry, I was looking at the wrong one. Yeah, threes.
It's too much uncertainty. I am head coach. You have interim head coach. Like you I think you get 15 practices. Like, I mean, tell me again. You tell me how they're telling you it's not your job. So it's like, go figure out another job. And you got to do that hopefully while you're doing, while you're coaching these games. Have they lost anybody through the transfer portal? I'm assuming they have, right? No, not really.
Not really.
Oh, no. No, their quarterback Garrett Schrader should be fully healthy. Wow. Okay. So no, not really. That's very interesting. Now on the other side, what are we dealing with? Florida, South Florida. They don't really have any
very
either.
limited
So this is
news.
In a weird way. This is the most analytically correct.
Yeah.
And the market agrees with us. You build a model, you got to trust it. That sucks. This sucks. I mean, what is the reason to not bet this?
I'm struggling to find one. Yeah, I mean,
other than this is effectively and it's not a reason not bet it. I'm just pulling out fun facts here because I don't have much to contribute to this conversation. But this is the Boca Raton Bowl, and so this is effectively a home game for USF. Now that's not true because Boca Raton is like 3 hours away, but it's in the state of Florida.
Yeah,
but no, there's no reason.
But I gotta imagine, they're pretty psyched to get out of the
New York
cold in Syracuse.
Yeah.
All right, go orange. Ugh. But not enthusiastically.
When is this?
All right. I'm surprised, all right, here we go, boys. I know we're gonna have lots of spirit discussion on this one. So
let's go.
Oklahoma and Arizona, baby. Our number said -5 in favor of Oklahoma. Obviously, huge news on the Oklahoma side with the transfer portal. Dylan Gabriel is out. He's gone, Gonzo. He's going to Oregon, right?
Yeah, Oregon.
Yeah, he's going to Oregon. Yep.
Good. Yeah, definitely good for him. So he's out. They have several. I don't know if he was the first domino to fall, but there's been a lot of other pieces that have entered the portal since then or along with him. So
yeah, that makes sense, right?
Yeah, running backs, receivers, offensive line. So a lot of offensive production leaving Oklahoma and a couple of opt-outs as well. On the flip side, Arizona, pretty quiet. Maybe a couple of potential opt-outs, but their left tackle.
That's just a bought in
left tackle. Yeah, the left tackle is the only one who's opt-out.
Yeah, Jordan Morgan declared for the draft. I mean, this is one exactly. So this is a team that's bought in. I mean, Arizona's playing for. I mean, it's the first bowl game since 2017. I think it's been a long time. It's been a long time coming. With Oklahoma, not only did you lose Dylan Gabriel, was the big one. Yeah, you lost some pieces that may or may not have been contributing to the offense. But Tobby Walker's out; he's their second leader rusher. But then, again, you lost another offensive coordinator and Jeff Lebby, who's going to Mississippi State. So I'm looking at this, right? You have Jackson Arnold coming in. Who knows who he's going to do the quarterback? But for me, it's Oklahoma team. We've seen their defense be suspect time and time again, right? I mean, we were the ones. Oklahoma were the darling teams for us earlier in the year. Right? I mean, they could do no wrong. And then you saw in that near loss to UCF, you said, okay, this defense is a little shaky, but they got the win. They didn't get us a cover, but maybe they'll fix it up. And then what? They immediately lost to Kansas the week after, right? And then they lost to OK State, and then they gave up 45 to TCU. So for me, it's like, when you take away the one thing that's been saving Oklahoma this entire year, and that's been their explosive offense with Dylan Gabriel, and then you pair that with a suspect defense, and then you combine that with an Arizona offense where this team has bought in and Fafita has been tearing it up. Like, this to me is ridiculous. I got this when the Gabriel news broke. Arizona went down, or excuse me, Arizona was opened at -2. Well, when I looked at it, Arizona was -2.5, and then they jumped up to -4.5, and it's shifted back down. So as you can see here, Arizona -3. This makes no sense to me whatsoever. This is the one where I'm not
should be.
I'm trying to keep my fandom out of it, but this is a game that should be over the 3. I think this should be a closer to a 6.5, 7, quite honestly.
Really?
And quite frankly, I would feel comfortable with Arizona covering that. But that's me being extreme. Like for me, saying, you know what I mean? Like I would feel comfortable betting this up to a 6.5 without blinking twice about it. And so really all you're losing here is, yes, you're using the left tackle. There was some, potential news that, could Jacob Cowing go. He's the number 1 receiver, but that has all been rumors. He's had no news on that. So we'll wait to see. But I don't know, man. This is a poor matchup in general for Oklahoma with their defense and our offense. But you combine that with taking away their QB. I don't see how Arizona doesn't cover this with at least a 1 possession game.
Look, bear down Arizona. I can't get there for you. I'm not going to be a buyer here. I will concede this to you. Is buying in worth something? Yes. How much is it worth? I don't know, and that's why I'm not betting it. I think you're speaking crazy talk. 6.5 spread. I mean, that's just too many. The blue chip ratio of this team is exponentially higher. The backups are much better at Oklahoma here, so this is still going to be a good team. Now, that's where you come to this buy-in. You have the continuity. You have the starters, and they're, by all accounts, they're bought in there. So I don't disagree with you there. I think this is just really, to me, in the unknown space. Now, that being said, FanDuel is willing to give you a 2.5, -120.
Yes, okay. I was gonna say I saw that
if
too.
You make this number 6.5.
Sure.
I mean, windmill dunk that bet.
I guess I can't buy that an Oklahoma backup led offense is better than this year's Oregon State, better than this year's Utah, better than this year's Washington State, better than this year's UCLA.
They won all those games by at least 6 points. 6.5.
Well, I'm saying they won all those games while those opponents were ranked. And so I guess that for me is this. Okay. I know Oklahoma is Big 12, not SEC, but this to me is that seam. This is not the same team we've been dealing with. I think there's been smoke going on since that UCF game that has not been addressed, and it's only gotten worse. Yeah. Now, full disclosure, hands up. This is me being biased. They are down, baby. Wildcats all day. Right. I'm making my argument with my subjective feelings, but yeah, I'm locked in, and that's go back to Kanye. You can't tell me nothing.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. I mean, going back to the point about the 2.5, even though it's hella expensive, I kind of lean with I'll lean with Steve a little bit on this one, I'll lay the juice for that. I think 2.5. Why not? Fucking toss up, baby. Field goal game. Yeah, with basically Oklahoma's.
But you're just getting eaten alive by that juice. You got to make that number you got to make that number pretty big in order to let's start. Let's do some.
I'm only taking it once. I'm only taking it once.
Variance, baby. Let's go. Probably more of a problem. Okay, so if you can get a 2.5, give me a reasonable number. 4, but you really believe 6.5? I'll whatever. Okay.
Oh, what would I? Yeah. So okay, let's you want to be reasonable. I 4.5. Let's say 4.5.
Well, we'll have to make it a whole number. So let's make it
5.
Yeah. If you laid 122, that's a 3% edge. And if you laid, and that's at -2.5, but if you got a 3, it's actually not even a good bet. So
good. That's why I think it's 6.5. All right.
I mean, let's just do that. We'll have to make it 7 here. Yeah, I mean that if you can get a 3 and you make it a 7, you're talking a 4% edge. So in that case, it's maybe not even worth it to buy the hook. But yeah, bear down. Look, I want it to happen. I just can't get there.
Sure. Yeah, that's fair.
All right. Let's move on, boys. Texas A&M, Oklahoma State next up. So our number said -7 in favor of A&M. And the opener was at 3. So this is another one, too, with A&M.
Just implode. If I'm not implode, what do you want to call this? Mass exodus of,
Yeah. again, tied for the nation league. And I since that tweet, I think it's grown even, because looking at this list that Action puts out, I mean, there's definitely more than 11 in here now, between transfers, between opt-outs. Yeah, there's more than 11. So,
but didn't it say 11 starters? I think that
it did.
that
1,
is
2,
starters,
3,
so.
4, 5, 6, 7. I'm just counting those guys with at least 300 snaps here. 8, 9, 10, 11, 12.
I mean, they're starting over.
13,
The
14
thing is, though,
potential.
It doesn't matter for this game, but like, he's probably bringing some people from Duke. Like, it's going to be interesting who he ends up bringing in. And then if you look at Oklahoma State, they basically have nobody.
Very small list, yes.
And this is an Oklahoma State team that it's would you disagree? It's kind of similar to Arizona. They're not as sexy, they're not as in your face, but like seem to be bought in, overperformed. I mean, they made it all the way to the Big 12 championship to get their asses kicked by Texas.
Don't do that to Arizona. But yeah, I get the point you're saying. I get your point. Yeah.
Fair.
God,
I don't
it's
know.
just a crazy list.
I'm not a buyer.
Me neither.
Yeah.
Me neither. Not
No,
only
no,
the
I'm with
players,
you.
not only the mass exodus from the players, but the coaching as well. Obviously,
Brand new
Jimbo.
coaching
Obviously, Jimbo Fisher's gone.
Yeah, Duke said
OC. Yeah, OC Petrino gone. Like,
which is probably why he got fired in the first place. I don't know. And then the Duke's head coach took the job, so I don't know, what does that look like here.
it says he won't coach this game, so Mike Elko won't coach the new coach.
What the fuck is it? Okay, so is that it's almost worse.
So I don't even know who's going to show up for this game for A&M. It's hard stay away.
So maybe there is value on OSU here.
I mean, you're telling me the market opened at 3 and it's still at 3. I don't know when all that. I mean, the Jimbo Fisher news is pretty old now at this point, but as far as all the transfer portal news, I'm not sure the timeline of that stuff. But yeah. I'm trying to see the movement of that game. But
3.5. But yeah, it was.
Why can't I find?
Actually, it went from 3 to 5 to 4 to 3.5 back to 3. So it's
kind of bounced around a little bit.
It hasn't moved off the 3 since the 7th. So it's quiet in the streets.
Yeah. Well, which again, this brings you back to this. When are we going to see that flurry of action? I can't imagine no one's going to. I can't imagine everyone's going to stay away from this game, right? I wonder when that sort of confidence,
unless 3 is the number,
going to happen.
Unless 3
that is true. No, and that is true, and that very well could be. I feel like we've seen a trend, and I could be wrong here, but it seems like we've been talking about a trend where we haven't seen a lot of these numbers move that far from the opener. And yes, the opener could be very close to a real number, but I feel like we don't see that. We don't see that this frequently. So it just makes me think the wave is coming.
Yeah. Well, it's like we're like 2 weeks away from that game, so I think we got a little. That's the other weird thing too. Right. Not all of these games have equal differences in their maturity. I don't know. If I was going to bet a side here, I would go ahead and take the 3 for Oklahoma State, and I would really just chalk it up to continuity, and you're going up against chaos. But again, to come down to blue chip ratio, there's talented kids, and these kids are fighting for a roster spot, right? They got to show that they deserve to start or whatever the case may be. And this is a team. Don't forget, just a couple weeks ago, we took them against LSU, and they covered barely, but they covered.
Yeah.
So all right, one of the very few ugly ones. But yeah, just too much uncertainty. All right, next up, Boise State and UCLA.
I wanted this so bad.
Ooh.
Yeah.
But it's dead. It's dead.
It's gone now. So our number originally said -1 in favor of Boise. And open was at 4. So yeah, this is one. Dante Moore of UCLA. He's out. I don't know if he's been rumored to go to, I think, to Oregon as well, which is weird. But anyway, he's out. A couple of other key guys on the offensive side are out as well. Pretty long list for the Bruins. And quiet relatively for Boise State. So
that is not accurate. Yeah, their quarterback, which is what moved this number. He holds all the records for passing and rushing.
Oh shit! Does he really?
Yeah. And this is why it moved. It basically got shook to the core 2 days ago. he declared for the portal, but when he declared, he said, I might come back. I might recommit. He committed to Arkansas 2 days ago. He ain't coming back. Woo pig. I wanted to back this so bad. I wanted Boise State. There's just no
nothing left to
you just can't get there. The drop off here between what you're getting at quarterback for Boise now is, I mean, Everest.
So so reading this real quick. Apparently their backup is out for the season with an injury earlier, and so a true freshman or a walk-on will start at quarterback.
Yes. Jesus I mean, Christ. It's so bad to the point where you may have to take
UCLA.
Yeah, and I don't think that's crazy to where we're gotten, but yeah, this is RIP. In fact, I bet it just because I was hoping we would get some positive news. I mean, I lost 70% of the tickets only were 70% of what I paid for it. So It's not all sexy, guys. I mean, but the edge is just too juicy, but it was all around that news. So learn my lesson. I know we've talked about betting these when you're hoping it goes a certain way.
Be careful. It cuts both ways.
Not a strategy. Hope is not a strategy. Yeah, it's just not a bet. If you're going to take this now, get on UCLA while you still can. I mean, you want to talk a game that's going to 7. I think it's this. Legitimately, they don't know who they're going to start at quarterback. I mean, that is a scary proposition.
Yeah, it can't be good. Yeah.
No. Yeah. And I know that UCLA's quarterback transferred out, but we're talking an established Pac-12 RIP team. They have some depth, right? I mean, did you say that there's a potential walk-on? Does it really say that
for Boise?
Yeah. For Boise, like that's insane. And think about how bad that pool of quarterbacks is.
Yeah.
Or walk-on Colt Fulton. Shout out Colt, man.
Yeah, man.
We need to get some Colts and Kanye. You think we can get in touch with him? We need to get him two words. Southside worldwide. All right.
Walk on. Yeah.
All right.
Hey man, we all got to start somewhere.
Couple of relatively small schools here. So next one up is Texas State and Rice. So our number was at 1. Oprah was at 4. So what do we know about this one? Because I know
RIP JT Daniels. He literally is retiring from football.
Yeah,
I think the drop off
injury concerns or something. What's the deal with him?
Yeah, just too many concussions. Just too many concussions. This kid, I feel for this kid, man. He did not have an easy go of it. Transferred multiple times. He just bad timing. He got to Georgia. He was supposed to go and be the quarterback at Georgia, but then Stetson just became Stetson. This is when basically everybody ruled him out, and then he went to West Virginia. That didn't work out. And then, he went to Rice, and I think they had an all right season, but I mean, they're making a bowl, but yeah, just too much, I guess. So
when did that news come out? And did he play? Did he play all season?
Yeah, he got a concussion, I think, in the second to last game, I'm pretty sure.
Okay. All right.
So one last time kind of thing. I'm not sure, if that's a thing. I mean, let's see what I'm trying to look here. Actually, so he said the news I got was that he's declared for his retirement. Action is not showing any transfer portal, so I don't know. JT Daniels has medically retired.
Yeah, they already have.
AJ Padgett will likely start. Yeah. So,
okay, all right.
Texas State has had a really big season. Like they've very much overperformed here. So this is one where I'm not touching it. I'm not touching it. I think maybe if you had JT Daniels, you could get there, but I don't think it's not.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. You gotta know when to lay off the trigger, and so this is one of many that meet the criteria, I'll say.
Roll Tide.
All right. Next up, we're chugging along. We're almost there. Duke and Troy up next. So Riley Leonard, obviously gone. Notre Dame boy now, staff. Right? Yeah, coaching staff. So a lot more uncertainty.
Where's Riley Leonard going? Do we know?
Notre Dame.
Oh, he is. Good for him, man. Go Irish. I don't know. Anything compelling here from you guys? Troy is not really losing anybody. Well, actually, that's not true. One of their linebackers.
Yeah, but relatively speaking, and certainly compared to Duke, yeah, they're losing nobody. They got their whole crew intact still. So, but yeah, I mean, with the opener being at 6 and it's moved to 8, or I don't know, Pinnacle's at a 9. So I don't know. I don't know who the backup is for Duke.
I think that's why. I mean, you're getting Troy here at 9-point favorite. I mean, think about that.
Insane.
You know,
I mean, think about that 2 months ago.
So Grayson Loftus, I don't know which games they were or what kind of efficiency he put on the field, but Grayson Loftus, Riley's backup, has played in 7 games this year.
Yeah, that is true. Because he was out when he went down at that Duke game.
So that's not for nothing. Yeah, that's actually quite a relatively big sample size.
But I think it's your starting edge rusher, your starting defensive lineman, your starting linebacker, your starting defensive back, your starting running back. Both of your starting running backs are transfer portal for Duke. Your center and your safety.
Yeah. I mean, this is the Duke team that just lost to Virginia, like second to last place in the ACC. Like this is not a good team. This is not a good spot. I mean, we were just talking about this, last time we were out there. You can't model the locker room, you can't model the situation. But dear God, I want no part of this Duke team. And it's wild that we're talking about a Duke team that opened as damn near touchdown dogs to Troy, and it's only getting worse. So I have no confidence. This is a no confidence for me, quite frankly.
Yeah.
Yep. Agreed.
How high can this number go? This is like, I don't know. It's I mean, if you want to chase steam, the community is saying Troy. I just went. When does the number become too big? Maybe it doesn't, because there's just too much. I mean, there's just maybe like Troy's got basically 1 transfer. So this is another team with, looks like have continuity. But to your point, we still don't know what that's worth. And it's obviously going to be worth a little bit different for every team, but stay away from me.
Yep. Yeah. And this is one of the ones where, like, I think people may sort of, trick themselves to thinking, oh, well, Duke's a brand name team, it's Power 5 conference and that.
Not this year.
Again, yeah. And then again, one, we've already seen literal evidence of what this team can be as is, i.e. their loss to Virginia. But 2, again, to Seth's point, we go back to the blue chip ratio. This ain't a team that's restocked and loaded. You know what I mean? So I just no confidence here.
Yep. Yeah. All right. Hard stairway. All right. Moving on. USC and Louisville. Was value saying our number, put it at 4, and then the opener was at 7. A lot of guys. For USC, obviously. Caleb Williams out, 3 or 4 other opt-outs, and then one other key guy on offensive. They have some other offensive guys that have in the transfer portal, but none that have earned significant snaps. And then relatively quiet actually on the Louisville side. One guy, their safety. Actually, he declared for the draft, but he will play in the bowl, it says. So safety Cameron Kelly. So I don't know. This one's fascinating. I don't even know who the backup is at USC, who's sitting behind Williams. Do you guys know?
I don't know.
Okay.
I don't think he got any.
But I don't think he got any snaps this year. Yeah, but their stud RB is also out, declaring for the draft. Lloyd, and maybe they're one of their top receivers too might be declaring for the draft. So, yeah, a lot of production being lost for USC. Don't really see an angle here to back them. But
you would have to be right analytically if you want to follow these numbers. You'd have to be buyer USC. Yeah, I can't buy it. I can't buy it here. It just what are you getting? I mean, I guess you're getting 7 in the hook. I mean, what 8? It looks like you can even get, but
yeah. And for me, it's one of those things where it's hard for me to buy Louisville in any spot. And we've talked about, the sort of disappointment that season's been. And so, again, I can see people who are listening to this, and if you're still listening, shout out, you're a real one. But, like, I can see how you can kind of trick yourself into, oh, well, it's a backup quarterback, this and that. But I don't know if that's enough for Louisville. But at the same time, I don't know what USC's bringing. So, to me, I'm completely lost here, 100%. It's just 2 teams that I don't know.
Yeah, and then it's this idea though, right? We know that like Riley Leonard's not like just playing possum. Like they definitely have somebody at quarterback that they have in mind. Now, obviously with the transfer portal, that gets a little bit complicated. Miller Moss. What a name. Looks to be the backup here. And I mean, I don't really have any knowledge of him at all, his playing or so it's tough to buy. It's tough to buy here.
Yeah.
But I'm sure this guy's not bad, right? Like he's, I'm sure he's been there for 2 years, it looks like. Redshirt sophomore. Yeah, he saw some games last year, but he didn't really get to play much this year. So I don't know.
Yeah, I'm staying away.
Same.
All right, trucking on, baby. Kentucky and Clemson. Our number says it was 9. Opener was at 9. This has been bought down quite significantly. So this is now sitting at market makers haven't fully agreed, putting up a few different numbers here, 5.5 all the way down to 4 at the moment. So a little bit of market confusion, a little bit of market uncertainty, but yeah, poking through the transfer portal news. I mean, Clemson has a relatively long list between transfer portals and other opt-outs, guys that are probably declaring for the draft. But I don't know. What's the take here? What's the read on why this has moved so much since
I was actually, I don't know. I'm hoping you guys can help me walk through it, because I mean, we're really only looking at a looks like an offensive lineman and a safety and a wide receiver that we're going to be basically losing. Well, that's not true. A fair amount of a couple looks to be starters on defense, but basically one tackle and one wide receiver on offense for Clemson but you still have Klubnik and you still have I forget the running back's name, but he's a big part of their offense. Anything jumps out for you guys?
No, Frank, no.
Yeah.
So I mean, was the it's one of those just weird scenarios where the market was just way off at open, and and movers were like, oh, hell yeah, give me 9, give me 8, give me 7.
Yeah, and let's double check. Like maybe there was maybe that was like a look ahead or something. No, it's open at 9.
Yeah,
9. Then 3 minutes. It was open for 3 minutes. It moved to 7. and then it moved on the 11th. It moved to 5.5, and this is at Circa. Okay. And then it opened at 7 at Pinnacle, and then it opened at 7 at Chris. So kind of the true open was really 7, to be honest. If you really kind of break this down,
blend those.
Yeah. I mean, walk me off the ledge, guys. I want to buy Clemson here, especially if I can get a 4.
Want to buy Clemson at 5.5, or what can we
4?
Get?
Well, shout out DraftKings has a 4. Of course they do.
Fuck you.
Everywhere else,
all right.
Everywhere else is 5, 5.5. ESPN bet has a expensive 4 at -115. DraftKings does have a 4 -110. Of course, and that's why they limit you, because they're dumb. Go bet that, guys. What are we losing here? What are we really losing here? This is a Clemson team that I gotta imagine is going something like this. You're either bought into the Debo or not Debo, but whatever the coach's name is. You either bought into that culture. Dabo, sorry. You're either bought into that culture or you're getting the fuck out. And I think the people getting the fuck out, there's a handful of them. Sure, a couple of them I'm sure are impactful. Mm-hmm. But we're not seeing a lot on the offensive side of the ball. That's where they struggled early in the season. They've turned it on in the second part of the season. Now, it sucks to see some big deep defensive pieces go here. But, I come back to the blue chip ratio. Yes, we're not seeing a lot of fall off for Kentucky, but when this Kentucky team has played anybody in the echelon of these high blue chip ratio talent teams, they got the shit kicked out of them pretty much every single time. And so getting this under a touchdown and really that 4, I mean, again, shout out DraftKings. I think they're making a big mistake, offering that right now, is enticing to me. This is a good spot. Like Clemson. It was a disappointing season for them. this to me, they kind of made their season better and better and better as they went along. This to me is the kind of final capstone of turning it and getting your momentum going back into the the next season.
Yeah. I wish I could give you something to talk you off it, but we walking through the news and just comparing these two teams analytically. Where is this game being played? This is
the Gator Bowl. So I'm
Bowl.
assuming it's in the Gator Bowl. It's wherever
Florida.
Yeah, Jacksonville.
Oh, it's in Jacksonville.
Yeah,
but don't the Gators play in somewhere else? They play in
Gainesville.
Yeah. Is that close? Duval. That's all I know.
I'm struggling to see the angles. I'm struggling to see what the market's been buying here. Yeah, I don't. This one's a little confounding to me. So, to Steve's earlier point, assume the market knows more than you do at all times, basically. But
yeah, I mean that's fair. Unless you do your own work, and then you can think a little bit through these things. But I'm with you. I mean, but I look, so NFL draft, Kentucky, Ray Davis will play. So that's a thing, that's a big deal. Will he play the whole game though? This is the question mark. And then their cornerback, who's also declared for the NFL draft, will play.
Yeah, you get one injury scare, or you get some fluke shit happening. Yeah, those guys could be out.
Yeah,
right.
This is a underperforming Kentucky team. Yeah. So I get it. You want to suit up one more time. I gotta imagine if maybe these guys aren't top round picks, so they're playing for their career. But
I don't know. Yeah, I'm kind of with you, Seth.
A 9 and a 4 are very different games. Like very different dynamics to cover that spread, and that's I think my ultimate point here. So I would be a buyer at 4. To be honest, I can't. There are only one other 4 in the market, and that's at ESPN Bet, but it's a -115. There's only one 4 -110. So I don't really want to chase because this market is very confused. I mean, the hold of this market's only 0.87%, right? So the raw number makes this number -8, just to put it in perspective here. So it actually, I mean, it likes Kentucky, right? It does analytically, but this is assuming, I guess actually, maybe I just talked myself out of it, like right there. Like, what are we assuming we're losing? We're only losing things for Clemson. The model likes Kentucky, but we're not actually losing anything for Kentucky. So why am I actually buying Clemson? I guess because the numbers move quite a lot. Right. Clemson, if you make the number 8 and you can now get a 4, I mean that's value. So I don't know, this one I'll put a question mark. I would like to be a buyer at Clemson -4.
Okay. All right. Let's truck it through. Okay. SMU, shout out, and Boston College. Yeah, this one, Steve, you've had some interesting takes or opinions, whatever you want to call them, on SMU throughout the course of the season. So our number says it was 10, and the opener was at 9. You can get this at 11 now at Market Maker. So I don't know. What do you have any strong takes on this one, or what are we missing, or what are these teams going through in the portal? Looks like not, at least from SMU's perspective, not much, huh?
No, I mean, I think the biggest news is that, everyone's talking about Preston Stone being out, but he's been out since November. So you've had this backup quarterback play. And Kevin, and then that was, I think it was whatever, when we first started doing Dogs of the Week, I think that was the angle I was trying to take, where, you have this backup quarterback, but it's not like you're throwing him, to the wolves out in the wild. Like he's been there. He's been that dude. He's gotten game reps. You got a Boston.
We gave that out Dog of the Week. We gave that out Dog of the Week, and it won handedly.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Right. So, I mean, for me, like this to me, again, I go back and say, I'm not seeing much in terms of the transfer portal news. I was joking earlier about Boston College. They had like 9 running backs on their roster, and like 6 of them transferred, it seems like, but they're all, pretty much non-factors. What you are looking at those, I think your third, fourth, and fifth rusher, they're part of that running back crew that's leaving now. Then they lost their tight end as well. So to me, though, this is looking like their bodies are moving, but it's not a lot of significant pieces. And so again, I look at this one. Unfortunately, that's not an EV play for us, but this to me is one where I would take it at face value. But SMU, it's not quite there. But again, the market movement is agreeing with what the model was showing, that we had the -10 and it's moving in that direction. So I don't think there's any value left on this, but I would trust SMU to cover the opening spread at least.
Yeah, I mean, from my perspective, I'm not going to try to get cute with this one. Like, no model, no edge from a modeling perspective, and the transfer portal news isn't that significant. So,
right, yeah, no, for sure, and that's how I play it. This is a face value slide. Right?
Okay,
I guess it's my point I'm making. Yeah.
Oh yeah. Well, doll me up then, because I'm getting real cute here. SMU, there's tons of value left on the bone. Raw number makes this 15. You basically have no transfer portals here for SMU. Kevin Jennings is a stud. We gave that out. We told you that this guy came in when Stone got hurt and drove this team down the field, scored, and then he held his own in that championship game. He's going to do the same thing here. And then what do you have here? You have, again, not that much quarterback or transfer for Boston College, but you have their starting safety. He's out with an injury. They're a cornerback out with an injury. Their other cornerback out with an injury. And they've lost one of their wide receivers here. I mean, raw numbers 15 here. I think there's enough here for me to keep buying it. There is a 10.5 at FanDuel. Shout out to FanDuel. I'm sorry you have to be the sucker this time. -110. Lock it in for me. That will be a play all day for me.
Okay, so yeah. Sorry, go ahead.
No, I'm just saying, like, and I can be reasonable here. Like, if the number's 10.5 and you want to regress to the market, what do you make that number? I was just
for an example for the watchers.
Yeah.
Hey, save yourself a penny if you got Bet Rivers -109, 10.5.
Oh, is it? Well,
yeah.
Okay, let me just do the maybe. The thing is, because I had my FanDuel account for so long, I'm a degenerate there. But at Rivers, I've only been betting there for like a year, and I'm not a degenerate there. That's the only problem with.
Yeah. But with this one, like, there's the market isn't really disagreeing. Like, their number hasn't moved throughout the week, really. So you're not getting really. It doesn't appear you're getting CLV on it. Let me put it that way.
True. You're very right.
Well, until people start betting. That's the unknown, right? We don't know.
Yeah, so 10.5 is the number. If you regress to the market, you'll basically make this thing 12. And I'm trying to run the calculator right now.
Okay.
And let's confirm. Let's confirm here that that's actually a good bet, because you're right. We don't want to be just using our intuition here. And actually, to your point, it's not the greatest bet in the world. At 110, it's a negative 1.7% bet. Now that's regressing to the market. If you want to just believe the raw number, it's a 5% edge.
Yeah.
So in this case, man, where did it open? It opened at 9.
Looks like it. Yeah.
But again, but this is I kind of want to. Yeah, I want to be kind of walk through this too, because we had a similar situation with Texas, right? It was like, oh, well, if you take the raw model, because that one was, I forgot how it was huge.
26.
And then we regressed back. That's what it was. And we regressed to the market. Yeah, right. And then when you regress to the opening line, right, it put the model output number lower. But then if you truly trust the raw model and you use the different line as the day went on, you still had a value left. I guess is what I'm saying. So depending on what you believe that true number is, this is why the source of truth is so important, because this is what factors into where you want to go, right?
100%. Well, let's not regress at 75%. Let's be a little bit. Let's be fair here. Let's only make this number 13, so we can get a 10.5 at 110, and let's just say it's 13, right? So we're not going through that 15, which if you make it 15, you're getting that bump through the 14. That makes it 0.84% EV.
EV is EV, right? Did we have a video on that?
Yeah. No. I'm going to bet this. But I think it's a good point of like, I mean, the trick here with our model is like, we know it's good. It's good. It's just we're still very much figuring out what that means. Like, how good is good. We know we can give you stats on what it is, but like we don't know the market we're up against. So our model explains 42% between what was predicted and what actual happens. When you're talking about sports and people doing shit, that's a very high adjusted R squared. The thing we don't know is we don't know if like the sharp communities have adjusted R squareds of 50, right? So even though it's a high number, if everyone's number is really high and theirs is even better, that's where we can get taken advantage of. At this point of where we're at in the season, I feel comfortable with this. I like what I've seen from SMU. I like what I've seen from the quarterback. I also like what I'm seeing from the market. Buying through the 10 is a key number here, and we're not getting bought back down. So I'm going to be a buyer here. I'm going to be a buyer at the 10.5 FanDuel.
All right, Mustangs. Shout out. Let's go.
Roll tap. When is that?
All right. We're just about there, boys. That game is on the 28th. Yep. All right. How about it? Florida State and Georgia. So a number was at 13. That's where the market opened. Market makers are hanging 14s at the moment. So shit, shout out. I mean, somebody with Roadmaker now under center, he has 2 games, right? That he's played?
One.
Just one?
So, one and change. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, 2 games. One game he started. Yeah.
Yeah. One he started because he didn't end up starting in the Louisville game.
Right. So he's done. They have a pretty long list of transfer portal guys and potential opt-outs as well. The potential opt-outs are, I think, more impactful because you got a couple of draft eligible, like the stud D end and Keon Coleman, the receiver. 2 guys that are likely going to the draft. And then on the Georgia Bulldogs side, sheesh. I mean, we know that they're super talented, 84%, 85% blue chip ratio here. They have quite a lot of guys. And frankly, some of them are guys who didn't get a ton of snaps. So it's, those guys trying to improve their situation, get more playing time or whatever. But the list of potential opt-outs is hella long too. So how are we handicapping this game, or what are you guys looking at for this one?
Yeah, I mean, this one's tough because, and two, going back to FSU, excuse me, Johnny Wilson's entering the draft. That's their second leading receiver. And so I guess for me, this is a big game of what if. And we're talking, this was Instagram, I dubbed this a conspiracy theory bowl because people are like, oh, FSU should have been in the playoffs, and the CFP made them play Georgia instead of Ohio State because Ohio State and the court's going, they just want to prove their point. And my response to that was, if any team below the 4 seed is making FSU 14-point dogs, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. That should tell you right there and there that this wasn't a playoff team. So, from FSU standpoint, obviously it sucks how they got there. You got to believe that they are, are they torn, right? You got Rotovicker coming in, being tied 3-3 with Louisville in the third quarter is not a great look against the Louisville team that we just talked about how disappointing their season was based off what it could have been. And so this is the reason that they got left out. Now you take away some key offensive pieces. And then to your point, Kev, you got defensive pieces as well. It's tough. Now, for me, the big unknown, and I'm curious what you guys think here, is it's going to be Georgia, right? And so you listen to the transfer portal stuff, and we talk about Kirby saying, he's prepared to play underclassmen, and you may have some opt-outs. But if Carson Beck goes, it's not just Carson Beck. Remember, their backup quarterback, Brock Vandagriff, he's already gone to Kentucky. So now you're talking about first to third string. And we talk about blue chip ratio and next man up in these big schools, not a big deal. But 1 to 3, I've got some questions now to see how they're going to do in their first game, being this bowl game. And then, everything else with McConkey and Bowers and whatnot. So I don't know. This is a lot of unknowns to me, but I'm hoping you guys can kind of help me make sense of this.
Yeah, I would say, though, with that backup going to Kentucky, he's not going to Kentucky because he was told you're the starter of Georgia's team. And he goes, I'm good. To me, that means that the third string guy is probably was a 2A, 2B guy, and they went with the 2B guy. Yeah, and because you don't transfer from Georgia, you don't transfer out of Georgia because you're going to be the starter. I think he was told you're probably not, or we're going to go to the portal or whatever. So I don't know that I'm not saying I'm not concerned about that. I just don't know if I'm as concerned because remember, this is we're blue chip ratio. This is the third overall talented team. So it's just It's just a stay away. It's just a stay away for me. It's just like when you talk about uncertainty of what you're buying. I will say, if you can even measure attitude here, it does seem like Kirby Smart had a better attitude about how he's approaching this. Look, this is an opportunity. Look, we're going to be playing our guys. I'm not hearing the same thing from Norvell. This is a we got screwed, boo-hoo. And yeah, they did. Mm-hmm. They got screwed, boo-hoo. But Georgia got screwed too, arguably. I mean, a little bit differently, but yeah, I can't get there. I can't get there with any of the numbers.
Right. And the market is kind of sitting on this, I think, waiting for, I don't know if it's waiting for something to happen or what, but it's effectively has not moved off the 14.
I would argue that was the move, because 14, that's a huge, now like you need a 14.5 if you want to back Florida State, but if you want to back Georgia, now that you have to back them as a 3 possession favorite, that's not very fun here. So I think that was the move, to be honest.
Okay. Yeah, maybe fair. Potentially. But yeah, to the point earlier, like the list of guys, and if Kirby Smart has convinced the team to buy him for one more game, like, yeah, do it for the boys type of thing. Show everyone that we got screwed, show them who we are type of thing. I can see that angle, but what is that worth? I don't know. But the list of guys that could potentially sit out is still quite long. So yeah, uncertainty. I'm with you, Seth. Kind of a little bit too much. Every door you peek behind. So yeah, I don't think I'm going to be touching this one. So, all right. That, besides the 2 college football playoff games, we just went bowling, and we did a shitload of bowling. You guys want to break down the last 2?
Let's not break them down, but let's get on the record with our final thoughts, because we won't meet again before these games get played.
Fair.
Sure.
Yeah. All right.
Texas wins this game, in my opinion. I don't know if they cover. I really want to, but I mean, Washington's just figuring out ways. So, but I want my head and my model say Texas. I'm going Texas.
Man, yeah, I hate this game. I want Washington to win. I want Washington to win so bad. I'm rooting for Washington. Sure. I'm not putting in my money on this. I will be emotional about this because there's so many other bets we have going on, but I do think Texas wins.
Right. Yeah. And for what it's worth, the transfer portal news for both teams has been understandably pretty quiet. So these 2 teams are going to face off as basically who they have been all season, which is
if you're going to transfer, now is not the time.
Wait like declare for the draft or whatever.
Yeah. Fair.
So. Yeah. Now I will say real quick though. Texas was, speaking of having the full roster. The one question mark is their number 1 receiver and punt returner, Xavier Worthy, was on crutches in that Big 12 game. Sarkisian said he's quote unquote fine because the X-rays were negative, but I have not seen any new news on that. So that may be, and I expect it to be a back and forth, right? I mean, Penix is going to be whatever. I know we're not breaking this whole thing down, but in a game of a shootout, that could be enough to give Washington the edge, only because I want to believe so bad. But that's all I'll say.
Yeah. All right, and last but not least, Bama and Michigan. So. Really just looking forward to this game. I'm trying to think back to what our discussion centered around that on this game last time, but similar to the other CFP game, like these 2 teams are going to be who they have been all year. There's really no major changes in terms of the lineups. Like, not a lot of guys seem to be opting out or declare because they've declared or whatever. Kool-Aid McKinstry, he left the SEC game with the concussion, but enough time will have passed. He should be back, and as long as he doesn't opt out, he'll be good to go. So yeah, what's the move on this one? Because I haven't played anything yet.
Yeah, if you make the number 3, which if you don't regress to the market, the raw number's 3. A 1 or a 1.5 is a bet for Michigan. I bet the 1.5.
Bet MGM, right?
Bet MGM.
Caesars, it's available. Caesars has a pick 'em now.
Yeah, I was gonna say it's more available than it was before. The analytical bet is Michigan. I think Alabama wins. So I bet, and I know that's such a cop out because I can't lose here, even though I can lose both ways. Michigan. I bet Michigan to cover, but I think Alabama wins and covers.
Yeah, no, I only said that because we talked about this last time. It was a -1 at BetMGM when we discussed this last week, and I can't get on BetMGM, so I couldn't get there. But I'm all over this.
You can get there now. You can get there now.
Yeah, exactly. No, exactly. That's what I'm saying. Yeah, exactly. No, I think I'm gonna make the number 3 to follow your logic, but I also think Michigan just wins this game. So.
Shout out. Kev? Okay. I mean, between now and the end of the year, we only got
a couple not going to pick a team, Kevin?
What?
She's not going to pick a team? What you got? We're going on record, right?
I stay on the fence. But no, I think Alabama has shown too much. They've I won't say been a tale of two seasons, but yeah, it's been evident that they are playing up to and maybe even slightly beyond their potential, and they're just measured to be one of the best teams. I like the idea that Michigan, or the winner of the game, the Michigan Ohio State game, has as good a chance as any to win the title. And don't discount that at all. Still in my mind, but I give the edge. I give the nod to Bama. I think they pull it off. So, right. Bama and Texas. How about it? Rematch. We talked about that as a potential dope finals matchup, just because we were at that Bama and Texas game early in the season, which would be pretty serendipitous.
Which would be crazy, right? I got my burnt orange on. Just represent.
Shout out. Ugh. All right, boys. That was a lot. That was dope. I appreciate it. To Steve's point earlier, if you were watching at this moment, God bless your soul. We very much appreciate it. We talked about a lot. If there is one thing, if you're just jumping to this point now, like, hopefully one of the things that you took away or are taking away is that just because there's games, just because there's bowling, like, understand the information angle with a lot of these. There's so much uncertainty. Yeah. Don't feel like you have to take action just because there's games. Like,
correct.
Stay away if you can't quantify the value, if you can't figure out your edge. Just no harm, no foul.
Yeah, and the other thing I would say, if you're a board member, make sure you're going to the college picks page. And this is probably the only week I'll tell you this. When you're looking at these games, don't be afraid to look at what the raw model number is and try to use that not as more than you normally would, but to see, okay, what does, like, not letting the market sway you at all here. Where does this thing tell you to go? Because this situation can be a little bit, if you can find the situation with one team with a lot of transfers and one with a little, and that raw number may actually be more accurate in this case. And then the other thing I would say is 2 really good tools during this time. Shout out Bet the Process. Rufus and Jeff, they sit down and they go through everything with Bud Elliott. Bud Elliott is like an encyclopedia when it comes to college football. So I would really go recommend checking those out. And then Bud Elliott's Cover 3 podcast, watching those 2 will also, if you supplement what we did today with those, I think you can get some really good bets.
Shout out. Good on you. And it's been fun. It's been a fun college season. I hope you guys were riding with us all year. We'll be, college season's coming to an end, but we will not be done. So we'll be figuring out how to get more content, get more information out to you guys, either with respect to college football specifically, or obviously we'll continue on with the NFL version as well as the season goes on. So appreciate everyone hanging out with us. That will do it for us today. Good night and good luck. We'll see you next time.
Take care.